I kind of think of Shelley as like the Justice League. Everyone talks about, Brindley Cannon, but they're kind of like the Justice League. They just have a nice set of characters that back them up.
When it comes to high school sports, East Idaho never gets its due.
I ran into Jeremy Hess, the AD of Grace Luther, and, he was just excited. And then, I'm just talking to him and he goes, we have 7 girls. So just amazing.
But the East Idaho Prepcast has changed that, covering the biggest sports stories from Salmon all the way down to Bear Lake.
And again, Grace is always that team just kind of lurking, like, yeah, there's Grace. They, they don't have social media, but you know what? They have footballs, they got grass, they got pads, and they use all those very well.
It's the East Idaho Prepcast with Sean Kane on IdahoSports.com.
That's right. Welcome to another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, breaking down top stories from Districts 5 and 6 and 4 sometimes of Idaho high school athletics. It's great to have you with us. My name is Joel Richardson. It's Wednesday, October 9th. Let's bring in our East Idaho expert and insider, the great and the late, though not his fault, Sean Kane. What's up, Sean?
All great things come to those who wait, right?
Right.
Yeah, just a normal week here. We got a lot going on in East Idaho. Things finishing out, and most of the fall sports are coming to some sort of conclusion. Golf's gotten there. Soccer will be there, and football. Just a few more weeks of football, if you can believe it. Well, a few more weeks of the regular season.
Right.
Postseason football goes.
It goes
forever. Yeah, it is.
Right.
It's like the second season for sure, but lots of things going on.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time. I can't believe it's already the second week of October. And here we are we're almost in the thick of it. We're like delving into the thick of it, right? Because golf has already had districts. They're going to state. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Most soccer is already finished. If not, they'll be finished by Thursday. And then this weekend, we start districts. Everyone will be in district play this weekend and next weekend. And then volleyball, Sean, is just around the corner. Just a few more games, probably 5 more games. I think I've seen a few tournaments that still are going to go. And volleyball will be wrapping up, and district play will be starting in a few weeks. And then you already mentioned football. And then, I did notice, though, cross country not till like November. They had their districts late October, and then a state in November, and then swimming, I think, is also later as well. So thank you, cross country and swimming, for giving Sean and Joel a break.
Well, there's no break. You just got to keep plugging along and making sure things go well. I mean, East Idaho sports, really, high school sports really never stop. The hardest working student athletes in the state. It's just what's next. It's not we're stopping. It's just what's next.
Yeah, love it. Well, let's not stop. Let's get the show on the road. Team of the week, Sean, had a huge game last week on Friday night at the Iron Horse. Rigby came to town because you and I are both here in Pocatello, and came to play the defending state champions of 5A, now 6A, the Highland Rams. And Sean, Rigby took care of the Rams, winning 33-3, basically blanked them except for a 50-yard field goal from Highland. It was all Rigby that night, on that Friday night, a bunch of defense, a whole lot of offense, and they still have some points in the field, but Rigby is our team, East Idaho Prepcast team of the week.
Yeah, Rigby is the team that I think everyone had penciled down at the start of the season. Highland is always a team playing late in the playoffs. It was the game, I think, for 6A in the state. This was the game everyone was tuning into. That's why it was the Gem State game of the week, right? Everyone's tuning into this game, and you got to see, I think, the full power of what the Rigby Trojans can bring. And you got to kind of see that Highland is graduated a lot of seniors, got guys banged up, but I think you have to tip your hat to Rigby. They did a phenomenal job by all accounts. The Rigby running game is a monster. I don't think anyone in 6A will want to deal with as it gets colder and these games might be outside. Is that just powerful veer running game is just very dominant, and where they might miss some passes, that running game. I mean, running and playing defense which they did in this game. That's how you win state championships. I mean, for the most part, is having the ability to run the ball and play great defense. So congrats to Rigby.
Yeah. Just a quick note. You mentioned the running game. You got Jersey Duenas and Amani Morel, absolutely punishing run game. It was a pleasure to watch Amani Morel play again this last weekend, as I've seen him play last season with Skyline. And that running game actually opened up the passing game, Sean. They left, like I said, points on the board, 3 gimmies, but Flowers overthrew all 3 of those. And, they weren't interceptions, so good thing they were overthrown, but they could have had 3 more touchdowns. And then their O-line, Sean, was just awesome. They had to push almost every down, and they were also good in pass pro. The O-line, I will say, is better in rush and rushing. They were still good in pass pro, but definitely their rushing game is their bread and butter. And then on defense, Sean, dude, they held Highland to 6 completions for 54 yards. Highland had 58 yards rushing. And my math, if I'm not mistaken, 112 yards total of offense from Highland. Rigby defense was massive. Obviously, they allowed 0 touchdowns and that 150-yard field goal. This leads Rigby to be number 1 in 6A per max preps. And they're also number 1 in 6A in Division 5 and 6 in their conference, in the High Country Conference, Division 5, 6, because Highland's in there, along with Canyon Ridge. Is Canyon Ridge in there as well? I just had a brain blip. Anyway, we'll move on. But Rigby is still voted, Sean, as number 3 in the media poll. What do you think about that?
I mean,
they beat the state champs. Highland was number 2 in the media poll.
I don't know if Rigby and Armando Gonzalez need any fuel for their fire,
but they just got
the media. The media put some gasoline on it. I don't know how Rigby isn't 1 or 2. I feel like Rocky Mountain belongs up there. They're 6-0. They're a good team as well. We know that, but not having Rigby as 1 or 2 is I don't know if everyone's seen the whole body of work of all the teams, and that can happen. But right now, if you look at if the season stopped today, I don't know how Rigby's not the number 1 team. Just their body of work and who they played. Yeah, they first game of the year had a close game against Coeur d'Alene, but Coeur d'Alene's body of work is not going to look like Rigby's. They've lost to other teams, and they haven't performed as well against teams as they should. And Rigby went in and proved that they're a top team in 6A football in the state. I mean, you beat the defending champs decisively. I don't know. No more questions. Next question.
Next question. Well, Rigby plays Madison this Friday. A huge game there. I mean, we thought the game was huge last week, which it was. It was huge. But now we got another big game for Rigby versus Madison. It's at Rigby. It's Rigby's final home game of the season. It's their senior night. Again, Rigby only had 2 home games this year. And Madison's offensive defensive lines, Sean, you and I were talking offline, massive. We always say this, right? Oh, the game will be one in the trenches. No, this game truly will be one in the trenches. Which line can push more? And I don't know. Madison's won some great games, but you talked about, Sean, the evidence on the field, right? The body of work, Rigby's body of work is just better than Madison's. And this is Madison's chance, to be fair to Madison. This is Madison's chance to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah, and they talked about on North Idaho, they talked about some of this a little bit, and I kind of chimed in there, and I said, yeah, the biggest, question mark, I think, is this Madison-Rigby game as far as ranking goes and polls or whatever. It doesn't really matter, right? Because essentially, I think Rigby wins this game. Yeah. They're going to win out the conference. I mean, I put money on it, and I don't really bet. So if Rigby beats Madison, they win out the conference. They're in the driver's seat of their own destiny. And it's kind of funny if you think back to last year. Rigby was kind of in the same situation, was ahead by Highland a lot, and ended up losing. And then, it's kind of funny. Sometimes the number 1 seed out of District 6 doesn't necessarily get the best spot in the bracket for 5A. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see if winning out pays off for where you have to play in that bracket. So that's kind of interesting for me. But more interesting, I think, too, is what if Madison wins, and then you've got Madison Highland. You've got a lot of things going on with just a few teams in District 5 and 6 6A football. But A lot of questions still. I think, like you said, Madison's had a phenomenal season. They bumped. People are kept saying, "Why isn't Madison in the media poll?" They're in it, right now at number 4. And we'll have to see when they play Rigby. Madison's played really well this year, and like you said, they're big. They've got dudes, and they'll be tested very much so this Friday night.
Well, we'll see what happens there. Well, our number one fan from Rigby, Amelia Lugo, says, "Go Rigby." And hopefully for Amelia Lugo's sake, they take care of business against Madison. But yeah, this is Madison's chance to prove, but Rigby's chance to seal the deal on that District 5-6 crown. So good luck to both those teams. But Rigby is our East Idaho team of the week. Let's do some golf, Sean. Let's move away from football really fast. We will be back for football. But golf recap, Sean, golf is already at state. They had districts this past week. Districts for 6A, again, districts 5 and 6 was at Highland Golf Course. Beautiful golf course. Love seeing the golf course when we're at Iron Horse and we're watching the golf carts go up the hill. The sun's coming down. Just a beautiful scene. That temple is right there in the left-hand corner. Just a great golf course, man. But this is their location for districts, and it's the location for 6A state. Hey, boys and girls golf. Madison was first for the boys. They'll be going to state. Highland gets second. They'll be going to state. Thunder Ridge comes up short, but who doesn't come up short, Sean, is Justin Anderson hitting a 70, which gets him first place. He'll be going to state. And then Madison's Rigdon Porter, he got second. Obviously, he'll be going to state with his team. And finally, Rigby's Braxton Miller, even though his team fell short, he got third, and he'll be at state as well. Then on the girls' side for 6A, Highland gets first. This is their third consecutive district title, Sean. They got first. No one was even close, dude. 39 strokes over second place Canyon Ridge. Great job there from the Highland girls. And then, of course, Rebecca Mon, Megan Merrill from Highland, they'll be there. And then Rigby's McKenna McDaniels, her team won't make it, but she got fourth. She'll be at state. And then Ann Taylor from Rigby also, she placed fifth at districts, and she'll be going to state as well. So good job to all those boys and girls who will be going to state. Again, here in Pocatello at the Highland Golf Course. Of those 6A teams, Sean, or individuals, what names stuck out to you?
Well, I think it's just what a great kind of advantage that all these guys got to play at Highland, and then the state's going to be at a Highland. I feel like that's a pretty good advantage, especially for a Highland team that's where they practice at, right?
Yeah.
I feel like getting to play at your own course has to help a lot. So I think just East Idaho in general, that what a benefit for some of these, Boise teams or North Idaho teams coming down for Pocatello to host golf. I think it'll be great. But of course, obviously, I'm very interested to see how Justin Anderson competes at the end of the day. Has he ever shot over 70? I mean, this guy is this kid, the student athlete, is just nothing but 70s all year. Won everything I feel like he's played in. So I'm just so excited to see what happens at state with Justin Anderson from Thunder Ridge.
Yeah, me too. I mean, unfortunately, Justin Anderson would be the favorite, but he's got to face 6A favorite Eagles Bo Sar, who shot a 67 at his districts. I don't know if I don't know the difference of the courses, Sean. I'm no golfer, but when you're shooting a 67 versus a 70, 74 that Justin Anderson's shooting, it's going to be tough. And this Sark dude, he's from Eagle. I know he didn't. I think he won it last year, so obviously he's the favorite this year. He's really good.
Yeah, hopefully it comes down to like a one-hole playoff. That'd be awesome. The best. That's the best scenario in my book. Like maybe not for the people watching or playing or parents or whatever, but it'd be great if it came down to have to play a one-hole playoff because they're tied at the end of the regular round. But you can't win it in one day. I think that's one thing to think about. You can't win this in one day. So it's who can be the most consistent over the course of the state tournament. And I think Justin has been very consistent all year. It's going to be a place he knows where to play. And, hopefully it's not windy.
Yeah.
Pocatello's windy.
We've had some great weather, dude. We're not going to talk about the weather. We're going to hold off because here on the East Side, we like to talk about weather. But it's been great weather. Hopefully they can keep the wind away. For 5A, Sean, districts were at Blackfoot Municipal. And dude, boys Skyline champs for the third consecutive year. They three-peat. They'll be going to state. Blackfoot came in second by one stroke. They were this close to taking Skyline, but the Blackfoot team will also be going to state, as well as individuals. Idaho Falls Noah Salem, he got first overall. Blackfoot's Kyle Stiley, he got second. Obviously, he's at state with this team. And then Shelley's Alex Hunsaker, he got third. He'll be at state. So congrats to those guys. And then on the girls' side, Shelley, they're the champs. They'll be going to state. IF gets second. They'll be at state. And then besides a couple of Shelley players, Mallory Hyam, she got first. Mia Williams got second. But Skyline's Emmy Mickelson, she'll be at state. She qualified. I believe she got second or fourth, but she'll be at state as well. Of those girls, Sean, and for 5A District 6, who looks interesting to you?
I mean, I think there's you're kind of interested.
Girls and boys, sorry.
You're kind of interested to see what happens with the Skyline boys, their third consecutive, trip to state, right? As a team, that's good. You have a Blackfoot golf team that that's something we've missed, right? Where's this Blackfoot golf team? So I apologize to them, but a great season so far for them, and hopefully they compete well. And it'll just be interesting to see. I think there's some good teams, some good teams and some good players. I don't know. There's just a big mix. Not one particular stands out. I'm interested to see maybe how some of the teams fare against some of the like Magic Valley, which is always really strong at golf, and Boise, and let's not forget Northern Idaho has some good golf competitors as well. So I think that 5A is going to be very tough and hard, but we'll have some good competitors coming out of East Idaho.
Yeah, agreed. Well, and if you're wondering, hey, where's District 5 from 5A? We talked about them last week. Preston qualified, the Preston boys, and from the girls, the Century girls qualified. So going to Burley. So 5A Golf State Championship is going to be in Burley at the River's Edge Golf Course. And Sean, just really fast on the side, you mentioned those Great Basin Magic Valley golfers. They've been torching the course. Apparently, I was listening to Magic Valley Prepcast, and Scott Burton is high on these Great Basin golfers. He mentioned you got to be solid off the tee, and you can't spray it around. You got to be pretty solid off the tee. If not, you're going to be hurting as you move through the hole and through the course. I will be curious. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say they did play a tournament there earlier this year. Century, Preston, Pocatello. So that there's some familiarity with this at course in Burley, so it won't be brand new. So some of the teams from East Idaho have played there, and it's a good course, and I think it kind of plays kind of fast, and that might fit the needs of whoever plays that way. We're not the golf experts, right? But I've heard that it's a really nice course, and it can play a little fast, so it'll just be interesting to see how that pans out.
Right on. And so you do have Blackfoot, Skyline, Preston, and from the boys' side, and then from the girls' side, you got Shelley, IF, and Century. You also have a Bonneville player. We weren't able to get their name, and also Hillcrest and Pocatello both have players from the boys' side competing. So again, for the boys, you got Blackfoot, Skyline, Preston. Also from the boys, you have Shelley's Alex Hunsaker, and then a player from Bonneville, Hillcrest, and Pocatello will be competing as well. And then from the girls' side, Shelley, IF, and Century, and then Skyline's Emmy Mickelson, and a player from Bonneville will be golfing at state for the girls. So looking forward to those games. I guess that tournament this Friday and Saturday, again, 6A at Highland Golf Course, 5A at River's Edge Golf Course in Burley. Anything else from golf, Sean?
Just one funny story. I was talking to Century's athletic director, my athletic director, Mark Pixon, and I was asking him something, and he's like, yeah, their flight is at this time. I'm like, wow, the golf team's flying to Burley.
Absolutely.
Wow, the budget has really expanded. A flight is like when they start, right? To tee off. But I had no idea. I'm like, wow, I can't even get a bus, but with the golf team's flying to Burley.
Yeah. Sean here's tea time, and he's like, where are the biscuits? Where are the cookies? Yeah. Hey, we are fancy here on the East Idaho Prepcast. Okay.
But that's my funny golf story from today is flight. What flight? What?
Dude, better you than me. I would have been the same way. Like, what? Oh, they're flying now? Oh boy, yeah. Here we are, East Idaho Prepcast, trying to do golf justice. So apologize to everyone for our lack of golf expertise, but congrats to all the East Idaho teams going to golf this Friday, Saturday, going to state, this Friday, Saturday for golf. All right, Sean, we promised we get back to football. Let's do a quick football recap. How do we do with our picks, dude? You're at 9-3. I'm at 8-4, and then we both got our picks right. Aberdeen beat North Fremont. They didn't just beat them. They blanked them 29-0. And then we both picked Rigby to beat Highland. Obviously, we already talked about that one. So now, Sean, you're at 10-3. I'm at 9-4. Sean, how are we going to break the stalemate, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I think those were, very difficult games to pick at the beginning, but sometimes you just gotta go with it. So we're gonna have to dabble down a little bit. Are you saying we're transitioning into who we're picking next?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
I didn't know if you were. I didn't know if you're smooth. I don't know if you were queuing me up because I was ready to go there. I thought there was a couple more games we'd talk about, but
yeah, we'll talk about a few more games. So you got Skyline. They're now the 5A High Country Conference champs with their 29-6 win over Shelley. Congrats to Skyline. Once again, the champs. Hillcrest will not be able to take that from them this year. And then Pocatello beat Twin Falls 18-15 by 3. Sean, you were at this game. What happened?
Well, this was a game of lots of laundry. There had to have been like 50 flags in this game. It was the most unrhythmatic game I'd ever seen. A player for Pocatello got kicked out. There was just lots of weird scenarios. But one thing was true. If you have a kid on your team named Hunter May, you probably have a good chance of winning the game. He pretty much carried this team to a victory. Twin Falls, I was pretty impressed with Twin Falls. They're really able to run the ball really well. They returned a punt for 70 yards. It was pretty exciting. But the game overall was just so jagged. It was like going up a hill with no path. And Pocatello, hats off to them. They found a way to win. And Twin Falls, you almost won, but it was tough. It was just a game. I'd never seen so many penalties this late in the season called in a football game. Like this late in the season, you would think there wouldn't be so many, illegal motions and false starts and different things. But going forward, I think it's going to be important in the rankings, maybe where these teams pan out more or less for, I think for Twin Falls now, because, Twin Falls has to beat, probably will say Minico to be the number one out of that district. And Pocatello, I think, has a fairly good chance of beating Preston and Century to finish out their season, which wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. But yeah, a lot of implications, but a very, you see 18-15, you think this great game, but it was just really hard and just so many flags. And it was just interesting to see a game this late in the season with that many miscues, both offensive and defensively. But Pocatello was able to win on what ended up being very windy where I was. Was it windy at Iron Horse?
It was, but it honestly didn't affect the game. We had a 50-yard field goal and we had a lot of running. So no.
Yeah. It didn't at first, but as the game went on and the longer passes, the wind was blowing pretty hard. You can hear it if you go back and watch the game streams on IdahoSports.com, where you can barely hear me and Logan because it's so windy. But yeah, it was an interesting game. If you're a real stickler for rules in football, it'd be a great one to watch.
It would be good for those training for reffing games.
There were some calls I don't even know what they were, and I got to get the little book. I got to get the little book and find them out. But yeah, congrats to Pokey for winning.
Yeah. And I know there was also we won't mention names, but a Twin Falls player had a pretty bad injury. Maybe a broken leg.
Yeah.
And then a Pocatello player, you mentioned all the laundry in the field. A Pocatello player was kicked out of the game, unfortunately. So I'm glad the game ended, okay. But yeah, those close games can just become knockdown, drag out fights.
And that was the thing. It really wasn't really that chippy. Like you'd think there's a lot of flags. It was really chippy. It really wasn't. The Twin Falls kid got hurt and they put it in an air cast and carted him off. and everything. And he gave us the big thumbs up when he was carted off. And I mean, it wasn't anything bad. It was just got tackled funny from what I could tell and landed badly. And yeah, and it was just so you would think it would be more chippy, like, their fights or something, but it wasn't that way at all. It was just offsides.
Yeah. Illegal. Yeah. Like you said,
over and over and over.
Penalties that should not be happening midway through the season in mid-October.
In fact, Twin Falls at one point had stopped Pokey down in their own end zone and they had to punt, and it wasn't a bad punt, wasn't a great punt, but Twin Falls had great field position and get the ball back, and it was a late hit on the punter, and then gave Pokey a whole new set of downs, and they took it all the way down the field. So it was just like one penalty after another hurt each team, and luckily Pocatello had scored in the third quarter, and then that was pretty much the game. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, Sean, thanks for being there, broadcasting that game for those who wanted to watch, Twin Falls Pokey. That win is going to have implications for Pokey for sure. Not so great for Twin Falls, and I wouldn't be surprised if Minico beats Twin Falls for that Great Basin Conference. This is the East Idaho Prepcast, but I'm very interested in what Minico does there.
We can make the bold picks here. No one will.
Yeah, right. Whatever. and then Pokey winning, that's going to help their Max Preps rankings, so they get a good shake in that first, second round, in the bracket. But we'll be looking at those brackets. Well, if you want to look at those brackets, feel free to watch Gem State Game Day. That's going to come live. It's going to go live tomorrow morning. I think 8:30 in the morning it goes. And then and you can look at all the brackets. Brandon Bainey's bracketology is going strong for all the football classifications from 6A all the way to 1A. And you can find out where Pocatello right now is kind of trending. But good win for Pocatello. You got to win those nasty games sometimes. And Twin Falls will be looking to improve after that loss. Now, Sean, we kind of teased it. Let's look ahead to what's coming up for football. We already mentioned Madison at Rigby. That's a Snake River rivalry, battle for 6A. Whoever wins that game likely is number one as long as Madison beats Highland. That game will truly be one in the trenches. Then you got for 5A, number 6 Blackfoot. These rankings are for Max Preps. Number 6 Blackfoot at number 19 Idaho Falls. Remember, in 5A, your top 16 go to state. So basically 3/4 of your teams, Sean, go to state in 5A. So, man, if you're Blackfoot, you're sitting really pretty. If you're Idaho Falls, if you can sneak away with this win, you still have a chance to get in the playoffs. Idaho Falls is struggling, but still a chance there. And speaking of teams with a chance, this Friday you also have number 16 Preston at number 24 Century. And you and I will both be at that game broadcasting. We'll talk about the game a little bit later, but Preston needs to win that game to stay relevant in the playoffs. Again, top 16 go to state in 5A. And then in 3A, North Fremont at number 4 Firth. This is number 6 North Fremont at number 4 Firth. And then in 3A, number 11 Malad at number 1 Aberdeen. Those are our 5 interesting games, Sean. Of those interesting games, which one is most interesting to you?
Well, I'm going to go with Blackfoot Idaho Falls just for what you just said, piggyback a little bit. For Idaho Falls, this could be the game for their season, right? If they win this game, their chances of going to the playoffs is exponentially higher. Obviously, we can't predict what everyone in every 5A bracket's going to do or whatever. Brandon can, but I can't. But I know if they could
he's just guessing.
Beat Blackfoot, their chances, would just have to go up so much. For Blackfoot, they've just had a very interesting season. Basically that big win over Pocatello is what was riding this ranking right now. So, Blackfoot's running game has been just amazing all year. And so unfortunately, unfortunately for Idaho Falls, I'm going to pick Blackfoot because of that running game. I feel like that running game will be hard for Idaho Falls to contain for 4 quarters. I don't know if they can contain it for four quarters.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going to pick Blackfoot. Again, what we do here on the East Idaho Prepcast, we each choose an interesting game, and then the person who chooses their game, they have to choose first who they're picking, and then the other one piggybacks off of that. But yeah, I'm truly piggybacking. I'm also going to pick Blackfoot because I don't think Idaho Falls can stop them for 4 quarters, especially that line is going to get enough push. The fact that line pushed Pocatello and they're still ranked top 5 in 5A. I think Idaho Falls will have their hands full full with Blackfoot running. So I'm also going to go with Blackfoot. The game I'm choosing, Sean, is going to go to the Newt Conference 3A, North Fremont at Firth. And Sean, I'm choosing Firth. They're 2-0. They're 4-2. I really like the Vasquez family coaches. We got their quarterback. Really like watching them play. Right now, they're ranked number 4 in Max Preps. North Fremont's number 6. I think Firth is going to take this one. Who do you got?
I'm gonna, I thought about for a while, but I'm just gonna go opposite of you. I'm gonna go North Fremont.
All right, cool.
They both kind of give up and have scored the same amount of points. I think it might be whose defense plays better, and I'm gonna go with North Fremont's defense. Cool. I think it's a coin flip right now.
Well, and both teams have played good teams. Firth has played a few more, I think, good teams. You and I talked about this offline. Firth's strength of schedule is a little stronger because I think have they played Declo and Aberdeen, I believe. Anyway, their strength of schedule is stronger. I think that's why they have that number 4 over their number 6 in terms of max preps. But North Fremont's won. Just right. They're 4-1. Firth is 4-2 overall. And so when you have that winning mentality, when you get those wins under your belt, yeah, you may not have a few of those losses, one more loss than Firth does. But I like North Fremont's chances. So I like your pick, Sean. But just for the record, if you're wrong, we are tied. So I appreciate you picking somebody else.
Well, I mean, what happens if Idaho Falls wins?
You're right. You're right. Then we're at the same. We're at the same place where we were this week. Let's go. Let's go.
Joel's saying Blackfoot's winning, guys. That's what he's saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I did pick them. I got to get behind them. Let's see. Okay, those are our pick'ems for football. Again, if you want to look at more substantial pick'ems, the whole gamut of from 6A to 1A, check out tomorrow the Gem State Game Day on IdahoSports.com. You're going to see the 6 broadcasters who have picked their teams. They usually do. What do you guys do, Sean? About six games.
Yeah,
and
one from each division.
One from each division, yeah. Right? So if you want to see some of the picks there, see where Sean's sitting. Then you can watch that on tomorrow, and then it'll be released after the podcast, after the Prepcast, and you can go on and make fun of all the terrible picks that Sean makes. Let's move on from football, Sean. Let's get to the meat of our program tonight, our episode, girls soccer and boys soccer. We are there. District tournament this and next week. From 6A all the way to 4A. Boys soccer, the same thing. We're a few of the conferences are still finishing up their games, but for the most part, we're at districts, and that'll birth us into state. For 6A High Country Conference, we had a huge tie, Sean. Thunder Ridge at Madison tied 1-1. This is girls soccer, 6A High Country Conference, which means Madison secures 2 seed and Thunder Ridge secures 3 seed. All right. With that said, I'm going to see if I can do this right. I'm going to share my screen, and if you can't see this very well, make your screen big, enlarge your screen, and hopefully you can see this decently well to then go through this with us. So, Sean, here's our 2024 6A girls soccer districts 4, 5, and 6 High Country Conference. Our 1 seed is Highland. 5 seed, I believe, is Canyon Ridge. 4 seed. Oh man, I already forgot everything I just said. 3 seed was Thunder Ridge, and the 2 seed was Madison. So Madison will play the 15th. That's, I think, next week. But this Saturday we have 2 games. Of those 2 games, Sean, which ones are scary ones for you? If you're Highland girls soccer, if you are Thunder Ridge.
I mean, probably Thunder Ridge is probably in the area where you're more worried about. The Thunder Ridge Rigby, it's been a battle. I think Highland's in a good seed. I just think these brackets are weird that the number 2 seed kind of has a bye.
Right.
I think these. I kind of like it when they do the bracket where the bottom teams play in to the spots is a little better, but some people like having a game and not waiting for a game too. But I mean, Highland's got it right where they want it, right? They win, they're in the championship game, and then they just have to win 2, and then you're going to state. But the second place, I think it's going to be a strong battle for second place.
I agree.
Whatever happens out, I think Highland's overall kind of favorite right now, but that second place, who knows what can happen. But I think there could be some prizes. I don't necessarily I don't think that number 2 just automatically will get to that second spot.
Yeah. And then let's go to 5A really fast. If this works, stand by. We already know a few games here. Hopefully you can see this okay. With Pocatello Preston. So Preston beat Century the other day. And then Pocatello now play Preston tomorrow at 5:00 at Pocatello. Pocatello should win out, Sean. They should become district champions and get a good seed. But anything here concern you?
No, I mean, there's 3 teams.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
and Pocatello's been dominant this season.
Yeah, you've got both Preston and Century are down. It's kind of went in waves. For a big wave, it was Century girls wise. Then Preston had a few waves and they won a state championship. And now the latest wave is the Thunder are really kind of the team to beat. They bring back a lot of people from a good run of last year. So yeah, it'd be safe bet saying Pocatello makes it through this. Yeah.
And then let's do High Country Conference. Now we don't have all the seeds quite yet, but here we have we got one play. Again, this is just like we already did this one, Sean.
That's 6A. We need 5A.
6A. Let me get you 5A. Stand by. Don't mind us. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you folks can see this. So we got 4 and 5, like you say, they kind of play in here, Sean.
Yeah.
So we got 4 and 5 playing, and 3. I think that's Saturday. That's Saturday, and then 3 and 6 also play Saturday. So yeah, 1 and 2s kind of get buys, and they play the lowest and the highest seeds.
And so right now that's number 1's Hillcrest, and then Skyline is number 2. Your 3 is Idaho Falls. Your 4 is Bonneville. 5 is Shelley, and then 6 is Blackfoot. So,
I love those games. Yeah, which ones are scary to you?
That 4 and 5 matchup, which is going to be, I think, will be interesting. I also think it's interesting that the 3rd seed plays here against the 6, which will be Idaho Falls against Blackfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got a good feeling, Blackfoot hasn't won a game this year that, Idaho Falls is going to go here. And I think that's where it becomes very interesting with Skyline and Idaho Falls playing right here in the bottom half of the bracket. If you can't watch this on our YouTube or Facebook, it's the bottom half. Will it be Skyline and Idaho Falls potentially? I think that's where it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And we mentioned some of these regular seasons aren't quite finished yet. We have number 1 Hillcrest, number 2 Skyline, like you said, but both got to win out to keep that 1 seed, keep their 1 seed hopes alive. And Highland got a win over Shelley on Tuesday. Then they play IF on Thursday. Skyline plays Bonneville on Thursday, and that ends the season. So we'll know for sure who is that number 1 seed. And then we already talked about on Saturday which teams are playing which. But if either IF or Bonneville sneak a win, Sean, they could take that 3 seed and play Blackfoot, which would be huge.
Yeah, I think so. But I still think though, where you go in as the 3 seed is the interesting part, right? The 3 seed's going to play that 2 seed. Pretty much no matter what, right? Because the lowest seed moves up,
right?
So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. So stay tuned for those games coming up again for 5A and 6A this weekend, and then next week for districts. Let's Mountain Rivers Conference. That's going to be Sugar. Sean, Sugar's been dominating all year, boys and girls Sugar teams. So Sugar should win their tournament. Their season ends, I believe, this week, if not this weekend. Their tournament is single elimination. We're not going to bring it up here. but Sugar should win out there. And then the interesting one for 4A SEIC, I'm going to pull that up here, Sean. Hopefully this works if I can find it again. Give me a second. That's not it. Why can't I find 4A, Sean? I want to get rid of that. This is why you have two monitors, folks. Let's see. I had it up here earlier. Here we go. 4A. So this is this one, Sean, is what I'm really watching. So you got everyone again. Make your screens large to be able to see these brackets. American Falls plays the winner of Malad Aberdeen. Those games that game happened today. I don't have a score, so folks, if those out there, if you know the Malad Aberdeen score, would love to know who American Falls plays. And then same game or same day, Marsh Valley, number 2 Marsh Valley played number 3 Snake River. And that one I'm interested in because Snake River is really close to Marsh Valley and American Falls. Just a few goals scored, and Snake River takes that second or maybe even that first seed. So that game is very interesting to me, but don't have a score yet. If someone knows the score in Marsh Valley, Snake River, would love to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of inconsequential, right? Because they're going to play each other no matter what.
Right.
I mean, either the one or the two, it doesn't really change that position. So, but it'll be good. It's been Marsh Valley and American Falls most of the season, but you could potentially see American Falls and Marsh Valley down here on the bottom of the bracket. That second place team, and maybe a Snake River sneaks in that way. It'll be a good tournament for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. So that's the girls soccer. Let's get rid of those and let's bring in the boys for High Country Conference. Sean, I'll stop sharing my screen just really fast, and let's discuss the boys soccer. For 6A on Saturday, we have Thunder Ridge versus Highland, and then we also have Madison versus Rigby. So I'll pull that up and then I'll share my screen to kind of see what that's going to look like. But Sean, just off the top, when you hear that, what sticks out to you with Thunder Ridge, Highland, Madison, Rigby?
I mean, I think when you look at 6A District 6, the High Country Conference, it's pretty much. I think it's going to come down between Thunder Ridge and Canyon Ridge. There's been some parity in it a little bit. You've got a Madison team that's, lurking too with their conference, and Rigby, but I think Thunder Ridge and Canyon Ridge are the top teams coming out of this district.
Yeah, so I'll share my screen really fast just to kind of see what that looks like for those watching. Give me a second here. And then we'll go. Don't mind that crying in the background. It's just my kids. So you got, pull this up. So like you said, Canyon Ridge and Thunder Ridge are probably going to be your best bet for your teams at state. But again, it's that same kind of strange. If you lose, you go left. Where 1 and 5 and 3 and 4 play first, and then your second seed plays second. Which if depending what kind of style, would you rather play now or would you rather play tomorrow? Right?
Yeah,
I think. I don't know. I think if I'm a 1 seed, I think I want to see what's going on and then be able to prep that way mentally.
Yeah, this is more similar to some volleyball district brackets that they had in the past. And volleyball was always kind of the under the they wanted to play. They didn't want to be waiting to play.
Okay.
So when I look at these, how they've done this district for 6A, right? 4, 5, and 6 are in this district now. And used to just have 4, and I've added that 5th, and so they've decided to do it this way. And they've never done it, so I guess you'll have some data to see how that ends up. But I guess it's nice knowing that if you win that first game as number 1 seed, you're playing for your, if you win the next one, you're to state 2 games and you're done. So it's kind of interesting. But the second seed's just waiting. You're kind of waiting, and you already know who you're going to play. I think that's a hard place to put you in, right?
Yeah,
Because these games are going to happen on the 12th of October, and then you're waiting to see. But whoever you're going to play already knows, right? So you can't look past it. I think it's hard as a second seed to kind of be like, oh, well, we're going to have to play the number 1 seed no matter what. But I could see you maybe looking past a little bit, but we know all these teams are well coached and probably won't, but it'd be hard not to.
Yeah. And you mentioned having to wait to play. So yeah, these teams play on the 12th this Saturday. You don't play till Tuesday. So you have to wait for these teams to play if you're the 2 seed, and then you don't get to play till the Tuesday. You're not playing Saturday evening. You're not playing Monday. You're playing a few days later. So interested in that one. And then 5A Southeast Idaho Conference, Century should win that one, no problem, Sean. We won't pull up that bracket. Mountain Rivers Conference as well. They start their district, I believe next week. And Sugar should win that one, also no problem. But interesting, I think for our purposes, is 5A. Let's pull up the High Country Conference. I mean, I feel like this is, except for maybe. I think Skyline is the number 1 seed. I'm not sure who wins this one, Sean.
For 5A District 6, I think.
Sorry, Blackfoot. That's Blackfoot. So I got Blackfoot, but after that, who takes Blackfoot?
Well, I don't know. It's a very interesting conference because of as of right now, Blackfoot's 1, Idaho Falls 2, Hillcrest 3, Shelley 4, Skyline 5. And Bonneville 6. Now, Skyline tied Blackfoot.
Right.
Skyline also tied a very good Century team, but they're all the way down there at that number 5 spot where they'd have to play Shelley. I think Blackfoot is the overwhelming favorite, but who's the second team to come out of this? I don't know. I've seen Idaho Falls. They maybe have one of the fastest sweeper defenders I've seen play.
Yeah, great backline.
Hillcrest is very good as well, but Shelley has, where the record isn't great, they've got some ties against really good teams. So, Skyline's like a dark horse to me, sitting right now at a 5 seed. So they'd play Shelley, and then potentially maybe play like an IF, or Blackfoot, depending. Right, they're the lowest. I think Skyline is the team no one wants to play if you're the 1 or 2.
Yeah. And we had you mentioned Idaho Falls. We had the Idaho Falls. They were our team of the week, I think a month and a half ago, early on in the season. And very well coached, good team. They kind of struggled early on, but they're starting to hit their stride. They may be peaking at the right time. But yeah, if I'm Idaho Falls, I'm very wary of 3, 4, 5, maybe not 6, but 3, 4, 5, especially Skyline and Shelley, who's, like you said, tied a few good teams. Man, I don't want to face them at all. I mean, obviously Blackfoot's huge, but Blackfoot would probably win out, be the district champion. But man, IF, Skyline, Bonneville, I'm just not sure. But yeah, that second place team goes to state, 2 seeds to state. So very interested to see what 5A boys soccer does in district play. Anything else from 5A boys?
I would just say, when you look at Idaho Falls, they started out the season with Canyon Ridge, Wood River, Madison, Thunder Ridge. That is a gauntlet of a start, and they tied a very good Canyon Ridge team. They lost a 0-3 to Wood River, which is arguably the number 1 team in 5A. They tied Madison. They lost 3-7 to Thunder Ridge. So they got goals on a very good Thunder Ridge team. So they've went through a gauntlet, and they had a close game with Blackfoot earlier in the season, 1-2 loss. So Idaho Falls is a team too, and I've seen them live. They're a team with the potential they could beat any of these teams, even Blackfoot. But right now, Blackfoot, I would say, is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, 4A Southeast Idaho Conference, American Falls boys, they should win that district. There were 2 games today, Wednesday, Snake River at American Falls, and then Aberdeen at Marsh Valley. So yeah, very curious how those games went, but American Falls should win that district play just based on the their quality of their games and their wins this season. Sean, that's going to do it for soccer. Let's go into volleyball, and we'll finish off with some cross country. Biggest storylines from volleyball, Sean. 6A High Country Conference, Rigby has been trending up. I mean, Madison's still number one, right, with their undefeated season. But Rigby, they have wins over Highland and Thunder Ridge. They're sitting solid in second place as the volleyball season winds down.
Yeah, I mean, it's it would be hard to say that Madison isn't the team, right, in that conference
For sure.
But who's number two? I mean, it's right now it's Rigby, but Thunder Ridge is there, Highland lurking, Canyon Ridge not really in the picture, but that number two from this district's going to be a battle.
Yeah. So good job for Rigby. I'm watching them trend up, and I'm really excited to see what else they do because they're on fire right now. And then in 5A High Country Conference, Blackfoot, Sean, defeated Bonneville 3-2 last Thursday, and they're now tied with Bonneville for second place. Of course, both have to play IF, then Hillcrest, Skyline, and Shelley, which Hillcrest, Skyline, and Shelley are all below them in the rankings, but they got to play IF. But, Sean, if both win the games they're supposed to win and lose the IF, Blackfoot should remain in second place because they beat Bonneville 3-2 last Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, that could be huge. I think for the High Country Conference, getting away from Idaho Falls has got to be your goal for that district tournament.
Right.
I don't want to have to play them until the championship game because there's a lot of parity, right? Right now, Blackfoot and Bonneville are both 4-3 in conference. Shelley and Hillcrest are 3-4 in conference. Skyline hasn't won a conference game, but those four teams, Blackfoot, Bonneville, Shelley, Hillcrest, are all reverse it one way. Hillcrest is all the way up at the number two. So
yeah,
I think, you want to finish the season strong because if you're Blackfoot and can get that second seed, I think you're setting yourself up for the best possible district tournament.
Yeah, really looking forward to both for Rigby and Blackfoot, how their seasons end if they continue to trend up. And then 4A Southeast Idaho Conference, Sean, Snake River at Preston for the second, third place. And then 3A Nuke Conference, I believe was this yesterday, next Tuesday, but number one Ryrie at number two Firth. And then 3A Southeast Idaho Conference, number two Westside at number three Declo tomorrow. Huge game there for those seeding implications. And then this is just a storyline, Sean. 1A Rocky Mountain Conference. You got number one 9-0 Rockland, number two 9-1 Mackey, and number three 8-2 Grace Lutheran. I don't think Grace Lutheran can overtake Rockland, but maybe they could overtake Mackey. I just love that three-way race for kind of first, second, and third.
Yeah, I mean that's that conference, right? I mean that's that Rocky Mountain Conference. Big conference, big parity. What could happen? What will happen? Probably Grace Lutheran playing Mackey in 5 sets at some point in this district tournament is what I'm going to predict. But it should be pretty good. Grace doing a great job, Mackey doing a great job, and then Rockland 9-0 in the conference. So at that tournament, those top three are going to be pretty wild. And let's not forget Ledor, 7-3. Ledor always sneaking in there.
Yeah, I almost included them in that list of 4, but I think if you have 3 losses, they could overtake Grace Lutheran. But we've seen Grace Lutheran play and the teams they played, and I just think they're better. I don't think Ledor overtakes. But you're right, they're sleeping and they're right there.
I mean, they're 14-8 overall, 7-3 in conference, only 1 game back of Grace Lutheran. So I mean, you can't count out a Ledor team, whether it's volleyball or basketball. Girls basketball, they're always very strong as well. So should be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're Ledor fans, prove us wrong. Get into that top 3 and make some noise. And then finally, Sean, cross country recap. We had the Bob Conley Invite and Pocatello last Thursday. Middle schools even participated. My son runs middle school cross country for Irving, and they all did a great job there. But the best performances were from the following varsity A girls, Sean. Madison's Brimley William. We've talked about her. She got second place overall. Thunder Ridge's Clarissa Earl, 4th place overall, and Madison's Millie Drake 5th. And then hey, your own Century's Haley Jackson, Sean, got 6th place. So congrats to those girls.
Yeah, it's a good job. It's what I've been told is Madison's cross country is kind of sneakily good, and that is proof when you have 2 people on the top there. It doesn't take much more to be real competitive at the state level with those kinds of performances.
Awesome. And then varsity A boys, Rigby got 2nd, Highland got 3rd, Skyline got 4th. Great job from East Idaho schools. Specifically, Rigby's Peyton Bird got 3rd, and Skyline's Alexander Rena got 5th. So nice job from the boys there. And then varsity B girls, Ryrie got 1st place. But Sean, they didn't just get 1st. 30-point difference between 1st and 2nd. And who is 2nd? The defending champs for years, Soda Springs. So Ryrie beating Soda Springs is a big deal in the Bob Conley race. And then the Grace girls got 4th place. So a little 2A cross country coming at you. And then Ryrie's junior, Lucy Boone, 1st place overall in the varsity B's girl, man.
I mean, that's why Ryrie took 1st place, and the juggernaut that Soda Spring Cardinals are. Anytime you can say you beat a Soda Springs cross country team at anything is a very short list for anyone. So congrats to Ryrie.
Yeah, big deal. So looking forward as cross country winds down. Again, they don't have their districts until end of October, and then their state is, I believe, the 1st of November. Kind of follow a bit of that football schedule. And then varsity B boys, again, East Idaho representing. Sugar gets 1st place. Teton gets 2nd. You got Teton Zane Lindquist, gets 1st place. North Fremont's Corbin Johnston gets 2nd. Snake River's Jacob Hammond gets 3rd. But Sugar had enough runners in that top 15 that they got 1st place.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great team. Sugar on pace for another state championship maybe, and it'd be their coaches like 50 something combined state titles. So just amazing stuff coming out of there.
Make more room in the trophy case, folks, ladies and gentlemen, because Sugar Salem's coming at you fast, as they got 1st, Teton got 2nd. Finally, let's look ahead for cross country. Districts are, like we said, Sean, October 23rd and 24th, and then state is November 2nd at Eagle Island State Park in Eagle, Idaho. Looking forward to how cross country wraps up. Sean, we're going to be this weekend as we close out this Prepcast tonight.
Well, we're going to be together. Me and Joel will be at Century High School for a conference game between the Diamondbacks and the Preston Indians. So it should be a very interesting matchup as it's only Pocatello, Preston, and Century, right? So we're into the conference is the end of everyone's season for those teams. So it should be very entertaining. It'll be whether or not, Preston's Perry can sling the ball against Century's defense. Preston's offense can really throw the ball very well, and Century's defense at times has shown some light and can stop teams. And it'll be a battle I look forward to seeing.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And we teased this earlier during the football look ahead, but Preston's number 16, Century's number 24, top 16 of 5A go to state. So watch for Preston and Century. If Preston wins this game, they're obviously more solidly in that 16, maybe 15, 14 slot. If Century can pull off an upset here, maybe Century gets 1 or 2 more wins and they can sneak into the playoffs. That's going to be our Gate City game night on IdahoSports.com. So join Sean and I for that game. Should be a fun one. There'll be a lot more games on IdahoSports.com. We'll have the game of the week on Friday. Go to your broadcasts, the broadcast feed on IdahoSports.com, and you can look at all of the games that will be live and free. Thank you to all of our sponsors for making those games live. And hey, do us a favor here. Like and subscribe to the East Idaho Prepcast. Remember, you can catch this Prepcast on IdahoSports.com's Facebook page, YouTube account, or X account. And you can also listen to this East Idaho Prepcast wherever you download your podcasts and on IdahoSports.com. But like, subscribe, fuel the algorithm, get people, help people get on the show so they know when their teams are being shouted out, so they can yell at Sean and praise me for all of his terrible picks and all my great picks. Just kidding. But now like and subscribe, fuel the algorithm, get this show on there, get all of the garbage off that you're just doom scrolling on, and we'll together be able to enjoy some high school sports and recap and shout out our favorite players and teams. For Sean Kane, I'm Joel Richardson saying be excellent to each other. Have a great week. Enjoy all the competitions, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.